So there's now a new kid on the block. There's a chatbot that's performing better than GPT-4. And so in today's video, we're going to be checking it out. We're going to be trying it out. We're going to be chatting with it, seeing how it answers some of the questions, checking out its capabilities. And then a little bit later in the video, I'm going to be showing you a fully functioning proof of concept app that I built that fully leverages this new chatbot's features and functionality. But before we get started, as always, all the apps and all the resources that I talk about in this channel are going to be available from my Patreon page. And you can learn more about our amazing, rapidly growing Patreon community using the link in the description below the video. Now, the chatbot that we're going to be talking about today is called Claude 3, and this is a new ChatGPT4 competitor. And actually, if you scroll down, you can see that it's actually outperforming GPT-4 in some metrics. So if you take a look at, undergraduate level knowledge, you can see that this is higher than GPT-4. Graduate level reasoning, this is higher than GPT-4. In lots of metrics, it's actually outperforming GPT-4, which is very, very impressive considering that GPT-4 is currently state-of-the-art AI chatbot model. So as you can see, it's doing pretty well. And so you can kind of learn more about it. But the best way to understand how it works is to log in and test it out using some of the queries. And so that's what we're going to be doing right now. And so you can head over to anthropic.com. And you're going to see that they have Claude 3 available. And so you can go ahead and create your free account. And once you create your free account, you're going to be on the page that looks something like this. So this is my dashboard right here. And these are some of the things that I can do with it, right? I can start prompting. I can invite collaborators. I can get API keys. And I can explore documentation. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this workbench here. And this is where we can chat with this chatbot. All right, so this is the system prompt that I came up with. You're my financial assistant, and your goal is to help me make the most amount of money with the money I have right now. Give me some suggestions as to what I should do. And this is my user prompt. I'm a high school student, and I have $5,000 saved up. And so once you have this, you can simply click here, you can click on run, and you can wait for the model to come up with a response. Okay, so there it is. So it's starting to kind of write the answer right here. Let's wait for it to finish. All right, so this is the answer that it came up with. And as you can see, it's a relatively comprehensive answer. Okay, it wasn't just like a sentence or a paragraph. It's a fairly, complete answer. Okay, so it gave me some suggestions. It gave me 6 things that I should do: emergency fund, education, college savings, skill development, low risk investments, start a small business. And so once you get an answer here, what you can do is you can add this to the conversation, okay? And then you can ask some follow-up questions, okay? So I can say something like this: rank your suggestions from 1 to 5, okay? And then I'm gonna hit run again. All right, so it went ahead and it ranked its own suggestions from 1 to 5. Okay, so this is the first one, this is the second, college, etc., etc. So I can click add to conversation again, and let's say I want to try something different. I can say summarize your suggestions in 1 sentence. Okay, and let's see what happens. Click run again. There it is. Okay, so this is 1 sentence, everything summarized that it talked about before in just 1 sentence, which is pretty cool. Okay, now let's say you want to start another conversation. You can simply click here, create a new prompt, and let's say this time you want it to help you with coding. Okay, so here I can ask it something like this: you are my programming assistant, your job is to help me write the best code. Okay, and then I can say something like write me a function that parses a CSV file and adds and sums up all the columns, all the integer columns. Okay, so something like this, and let's see what happens. All right, so this is the answer that it came up with. So it's telling me, this is the function here, and it wrote this function here in Python, and then it tells me what this function does. Okay, so it's very, very verbose, right? It really, tells me everything here. I think ChatGPT would not do all this stuff. It would be more concise. And so what we can do is we can add this to conversation, and what we can do is say, output only the code, nothing else. Okay, let's see if this works. And there it is. And now it's outputting just the code. So this is really, really nice. I remember with ChatGPT, I had issues with this. It wouldn't just output the code. But this was way back. This was like 6 months ago. So they probably fixed it already. So it's nice that it really clearly understands the instructions that you give it, and it does exactly what you tell it to do. Okay, so I have no doubt, I have, full confidence that this works, as good as ChatGPT, if not even better. Now, this model also supports image recognition. Okay, so just like GPT Vision, you can also give it an image and ask it to identify some things about this image. So let's go ahead and create a new prompt here. All right, so I went ahead and uploaded an image, and I'm gonna say, identify the image. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so just from this image, it was able to figure out that this image was taken in Spain, and this is a lovely Mediterranean city, and that is exactly correct. This is an image from Alicante, Spain. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump into ChatGPT, and let's see if ChatGPT is able to figure out where this image might be from. Let's see if that works as well. All right, so this is what ChatGPT came up with. It says the style of the buildings along with the warm, sunny atmosphere might suggest a location in Southern Europe, possibly Spain or Italy. Okay, now let's go ahead and prompt ChatGPT to think harder and see if it can figure out where this image might have been taken. And this is what it's saying. Considering these features, a city in Spain like Valencia, Seville, or Malaga could be a possibility. Italian cities such as Rome, Florence, or Naples as well. Okay, so it can't figure out exactly where this image was taken. Now let's go ahead and try to see if the other model is better. So we're going to jump back to this other model, and I'm going to add this to the conversation. I'm going to ask it, can you try to figure out where exactly this image was taken, city and country? Let's see if it does any better. All right, so this is what it came up with. It thinks this is Valencia, Spain. Okay, so it's a lot closer to the correct answer, which is Alicante, and Alicante and Valencia are not that far apart. So this is actually a fairly good guess. It did a lot better than ChatGPT, which is kind of interesting to me, okay? Now, regardless what kind of input you're going to be giving this model, whether this is going to be just text or images, you can click here and get code, and you can see the code that you can send to this model via an API. And so here you can click on Python, TypeScript. You also have something called AWS Bedrock Python and Bedrock TypeScript. Now, this model also supports a REST API access. And so if you're going to be using something like no code, something like Flutterflow, chances are you're not going to be using Python or TypeScript. You're going to be using either REST API, or you're going to be building something like a custom widget or a custom action. And so if you click on dashboard here, you can click this link, explore documentation, and you can learn more about the API. So if you click on this API reference, you can see exactly what you need to do. And if you click on create a message, you're going to have your API call here. You're going to see the response. You can also click on streaming messages, and that way you can do streaming as well in order to have that really cool effect as the text is coming back in real time, which is something that you should be striving for because it provides a really, really good user experience. All right, so now that we've taken a look at this impressive new AI model, let me show you a proof of concept app that I built using Flutterflow, which is my favorite no-code builder right now. All right, so here's the app that I built. And before I show you how exactly I build this app, let's go ahead and run this app so that you can see how it works. And so we're going to start a new test session here. All right, so here's our app, and here we can enter a message and get a response from this model. So for instance, I can say something like, what is the capital of Spain? Okay, send it right here. It's thinking here. And it says the capital of Spain is Madrid. Now I can also ask it something like, list 10 biggest cities. Okay, hit send. It's thinking, And now it's responding in real time. It's actually streaming the answers. And the other thing that you need to notice is we did not tell it, the country. We did not give it the context because the context was provided before. And that is because this app stores the previous messages, making the context available for the next questions. Another thing we can do is list top 3 beaches. Okay, hit send, and there we go. Now it's streaming the answer back to us. Now, another thing that this app supports is it supports images as well. So here I can click here and I can upload an image. Select this image, and as you can see, this icon changed, right? Change color. That means we have an image as part of the prompt. So now I can ask it something like, describe this image. And here we have it. So it displays the image and it displays what we asked it to do. And this is the response. It's streaming back the response. This image depicts a charming street scene in what appears to be an old European city, possibly in Spain or Portugal. Okay. So here we go. We can ask it more questions about this image. Make your best guess as to the country. And here it comes up with Valencia again, which is the exact same thing that happened when we use the model's UI interface. And obviously I can continue chatting with it. I can upload new images. I can ask it text questions. I can have a conversation with it the same way that you can have a conversation on the website. So now that you've seen this proof of concept app, let's go ahead and jump back into Flutterflow so that I can show you how exactly I built this app. And here we are back in Flutterflow. Now, before I begin, remember, if you're a member of our amazing Patreon community, then you're going to have access to this entire app as is, where you'll be able to view it or you'll be able to clone it if you want. And so if you want to kind of, dig deep and really understand what's happening, the best way to do that will be to clone this app and kind of play around and test it out. But regardless, this is how the app works. So we only have one page here, okay? We have just one page where the user is interacting with this AI model. The next thing that I want to show you is we have something called a data type here called message type. And this data type allows us to store various things having to do with the message, right? Because it's not just a message. There are various attributes that are attached to each message, whether this is a message that we send or the message that we get back from the AI. And so here we have the type of the message. This is going to be either a text or an image type message. We have the role, which is going to be either user or assistant. We have the actual message itself. We have the image URL. So when you upload an image, we upload it into Supabase and we get back a URL. And we have a timestamp so that we can sort the messages in a specific order. Once we've defined this data type, the next thing that I did was I went into app state and I created messages, which is a list of these data types. Okay, so instead of having just one data type, we have a list of messages where each message is that data type, is based on that data type. And this represents a list of messages. So as you're chatting with the ChatBot, as you're exchanging questions, getting an answer, we're adding to those messages. Okay, so this is the base, kind of the base data structure for this app. Okay, next I want to show you this list of messages. This is a list view, and we simply load it from this app state, right? So remember, we have this app state, which is a list of messages, and we sort it by this timestamp, and inside we are displaying the messages. So if there's an image, if the type is image, we display an image. If not, we are only going to be displaying the message. And another important thing to understand is that we have a stack, and that is because we have conditional visibility. We're either going to be displaying a message that we sent, which is going to be on the right-hand side, or we're going to be displaying a message that we received. We're not going to be displaying both of them at the same time. It's either going to be a message on the right-hand side or a message on the left-hand side. And that is typically how chat apps work, right? The messages that you send are on the right-hand side. The messages that you receive are on the left-hand side. This is exactly what we have. So we have this row other, where the role is the assistant, and this row is left justified. And we have this row mine, where the role is the user, meaning our own messages, and this is right justified. The next important thing, and this is kind of the key with this app, is this bottom part here, right? So we have this enter message, and we have this send button. Now, this send button has a lot of things happening. There are 7 actions here. And what we need to do first is we need to see if the user has uploaded the image, okay? Because when they click here, this icon button, they are prompted to upload the image. So if you come over here, you can see that this icon button essentially uploads the image, okay? And when we upload the image to as a local upload, we get back the actual image, right? The actual bytes of the image, because that is important for us because we need to send those bytes to the AI model. The AI model gets bytes. It does not get a URL. So you cannot send it a URL. You need to actually send it the actual image itself, right? Using these bytes, the actual representation of the image. And so once you click here, you're uploading the image. And at this point, the app has an image, right? It understands that there's an image associated. And so when you send this message, when you click on this button, we have here a conditional. And if the image is uploaded, this is going to be true here. This conditional is going to be true. And in that case, we are going to take that image that was uploaded locally and we're going to upload it into Supabase. Okay, so I have this bucket B2, I have uploads, and I'm uploading that image that was uploaded before, right? Because the reason we need to upload it to Supabase is, well, we need to store it somewhere, but also because we need the URL, as you're going to see in just a second. We need the URL of the image, and that way we can display it here in Flutterflow, here in the UI. Following this, we update the app state by adding the currently entered message to our messages list. The next thing that we do is we execute this custom action whose job it is to send a streaming request to this model, okay? And I'm gonna show you how this works in just a second. And after all is said and done, we clear the fields, right? Because you want that field to be cleared, and that way you can send a next query, send a next request. Now, if no images is uploaded, right? So we're having just a regular text conversation. We are not going to be uploading this image to Supabase. We're essentially going to be doing everything the same except uploading this image to Supabase. So we're going to update app state. We're going to send the request using this custom action. And we're going to clear the fields as well. And so this is what happens when you press this button to send a message. Another little feature that we have on this UI is this garbage icon here. So when you click on this, all we're doing is we're clearing uploaded data. Okay, so if the user, finished dealing with the image, they uploaded the image, they asked a bunch of questions, and now they don't care about the image, they want to just have a normal text-based conversation, then they can click here and that's going to clear the image, and from then on they're going to be having a normal conversation. Okay, now the heart of this app is this custom function that I talked about when I showed you this flow, and this custom function does a lot of things. And so if you click on custom code, you're going to see that we have this custom action called send stream request, and this is a custom action that I built to send streaming requests. Okay, because if you want to send a streaming request, you won't be able to do it using a regular API call, because typically the way that you're going to be doing this is you're going to create an API call here, right? You're going to create an API call. But if you want to have that streaming functionality, that really, really nice streaming functionality, and I recommend that you guys always try for the streaming functionality, and that way the user is getting the answers in real time, right? They don't need to sit and wait for like 10, 20, 30 seconds for an answer. They see the response coming back at them in real time. If you want to do that, then you need to create a custom action. And so here I built a custom action that takes a message, takes the API key, the type of message, maybe an image data, everything, and it connects to an API server to send this request. Okay, so everything here, as you can see, we're building this body, we're saying model is this, and all of this is available in the API, right? So if you take a look at this API here, create the message, you can see that it follows this format here, right? We specify the model, max tokens, messages, and everything here is being built. We're also sending in the previous messages, and that way we can build the context, and that way you can ask questions without reminding the model of what you're talking about. So like, what is the capital of Spain? It understands that we're talking about Spain, and next you can ask it like top 10, best beaches, or top 10 best cities, etc., etc. You don't have to mention Spain again, okay? And if we are having an image type of conversation, we have an image specified, it knows about this too, and that way it's able to encode the actual image that we've uploaded and send it in this base 64 encoding. Base 64 is a way to encode raw data, right? So when you have that image, it's just raw data, but you need to be able to encode it one way or another, so that way you can safely send it with an API, because if it's not encoded, it's going to be really, really messy. So here we are encoding, and here we are building a streaming request, right? So this is a post request. We have this URI, we have the content type, the API key that we specified, the version, the model version, etc., etc. And over here is where we are getting back a streaming response, okay? So here, as we're getting the streaming responses, we are updating the UI, right? So here we're extracting the responses here. This is where we're getting, I have some debugging messages just to make sure that, everything is working as intended. And here I am updating this text, right? This message with the stream text. And another important thing here is I have this callback here. I have this CB, which is a callback. And as you can see, this CB here. And what is the purpose of this callback? Well, the purpose of this callback is to rebuild the page, right? Because if you're not going to be doing that, then it doesn't really matter, whether you have streaming working or not, right? If you're not going to be rebuilding the page, every time you get, like a word or like a chunk, you're not going to be seeing that streaming behavior. And this CB actually, if you come back here and you select this, this custom action here, if you select this and you open this up, and if you, click on this custom action here, you can see that this CB, all it's doing is updating app state, okay? It's just a dummy update. We're just updating messages with itself. We're not changing any data, but the most important thing is that whenever you're updating app state, you can do a rebuild. You can say, I want to rebuild the current page, okay? And this is exactly what we're seeking to do. It's not really about this. Here, it's like a dummy update. We're essentially saying A equals A, 1 equals 1. We're not really, we're not changing any of this data here, but we need to do this because we need to rebuild the current page, okay? Because if we weren't doing it, you will not be seeing that streaming behavior. And as a result, we have this really, really nice streaming behavior where you can ask it all kinds of questions and you can see the response in real time. Something like this, list 10 major cities in Mexico. Something like this, hit send, it's thinking. And as you can see, as it's getting the chunks, it's rebuilding this widget, which is what you want to be doing. Because if you're not going to be rebuilding this widget, you're not going to be seeing this streaming response. And that's really, really nice behavior. And obviously, this is just a proof of concept app. You can take it as far as you want. You can incorporate it into a bigger app. Maybe you're building a complex app. Maybe you're building some kind of a different app that's going to have, a chatbot functionality. Maybe you're using your custom fine-tuned model, to do certain specific tasks. Or maybe you're just building a standalone, ChatGPT replacement app using this Claude. Doesn't really matter what you're trying to do. Regardless of what you're going to be doing, you can take this app here and you can incorporate it into anything that you're trying to do. And the best way to do that would be to view and or clone this app. And when you join our amazing Patreon community, you'll be able to do just that. You'll be able to clone this app, see exactly what I did, see exactly how I made it work, and incorporate this functionality into your own project. But that's not all. When you join our amazing Patreon community, you're going to get access to pretty much every single app that I have on this channel. There's like over 160 or 170 apps by now. All of them are available. All of them are accessible. You can clone all of them. And these are apps that I built in all kinds of niches that do all kinds of different things. So regardless of what you're trying to do, what kind of project that you're tackling, or what kind of app that you're going to be building in the future, chances are I've built a similar app, and that way you can just get started right away without reinventing the wheel. And of course, being able to get access to all of these apps and clone them is awesome, but that's not even the end of it. When you join our amazing Patreon community, you'll also get access to more special content. You're going to get access to Q&A. You're going to get access to behind the scenes content. You're going to get access to our Patreon supported masterclass series, where I do a deep dive on specific topics that the community wants to know more about. So the community votes on a specific topic, and I record a deep dive comprehensive video discussing this specific topic, whether it's a specific concept, an app, a tool, or anything of that sort. This type of content is only available to our Patreon subscribers. And above and beyond, when you join our amazing Patreon community, you're going to be supporting this channel and supporting my work. And so if you've gotten any value from any of my videos, then you're going to get a lot more value inside of our community. And if that's the case, then I definitely hope to see you inside. And you can become a member via the link in the description below the video.